Okay, boy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy.
Just out of love. All right, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Let's get this thing fired up. All right. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Bump and Run. I'm Pete Colasano, joined as always by my good friend and budding candidate for the head coaching position of Michigan Wolverines. It'll be an interim position, by the way. Mr. Scott Bracey, how you doing today, dude?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I'm doing good. It might be more real than not that they'll be looking for someone to fill in a couple games, maybe next year. I don't know. So you literally throw your hat in the ring and see what happens. You got a little update for us on what's going on with that whole thing? Because I know there's been some new twists and turns lately.
Big Ten, or the coaches, the Big Ten. Well, listen, everything's changing so fast here. One day there's a rumor all the Big Ten coaches were on a conference call wanting Harbaugh penalized. Then that came out and said, no, that's not true. Then there's a report saying that the Big Ten, the NCAA, because everything takes 6 years in the NCAA to get something done. So the Big Ten has the right to do something immediately. But now Michigan's going, be careful what you wish for now, because Michigan's got some proof on their own of other teams doing some shady shit. And plus, Michigan's got great attorneys. So they think they just want to get this thing to the off season if there is any punishment coming forward. So I don't know. We're sitting here Thursday afternoon. They're playing in 42 hours, basically. So I don't know what's going on. They got to get on a plane tomorrow to Happy Valley. So
there's a couple issues with what's going on. Number one, Joe Klatt had a point, and I wanted to hear your thoughts on it. And his point was, it's not really the Big Ten conference, the organization, which is the Big Ten. It's really not their job to punish Jim Harbaugh, because it's not a Big Ten rule that he's whatever, or they, Michigan, is breaking. So the only reason the Big Ten or the school itself does punishment is because they want to expedite things and get ahead of it and say, hey, we took care of it, it's done, and be done with it. I don't know if that's what's best in this situation for reasons that you just brought up. There's new bits and pieces coming out almost on a daily basis now, at least during the week, that we don't have all the facts, and they might not have all the facts. And if they don't have all the facts, you can't have a final conclusion, a final decision. Does that mean it takes some time? Then it takes some time. That's just the way it goes.
Yeah.
And to me, so what else I heard today, one of the rumors that's swirling around is that the whole story, this thing was thought to be brought out or brought to the attention of the NCAA or the Big Ten Conference by other teams, as you said. What I heard today was that the initial reporting came from within Michigan University. Someone within either the coaching staff, video staff, who knows, I don't know who, but someone within the Michigan family is the one that brought it to the attention of those who it needed to be brought attention to, whatever the hell that is.
Yeah, I heard that a couple weeks ago myself too.
Right. So, and to your point, if Michigan and their high-powered lawyers are not telling people or telling the conference or telling the NCAA, hey, you want to nail us for this? We got information that outs a lot of people, outs a lot of teams. Are they all getting suspended? And if that is true, again, I don't know if it's true. You don't know if it's true that they have that info. But if it is, then you can't come down on Michigan right now. You have to get a bigger story. You have to get a bigger picture. And maybe all these coaches need to be suspended. Maybe Ryan Day needs to be suspended 2 games. Maybe, what's his name over at Penn State? Shiano, whoever. Like, you can't come down with the hammer until you know exactly which nail you're hitting. And I don't think they do. And I think it would be best.
I agree.
I think it would be best for everyone, especially considering that it looks like it's a bigger, more widespread problem than just Michigan. It would probably be best if they hold off till the offseason. Get a full and complete picture of what's going on and wait. And then, drop the hammer on them another 3 games. There are violations, and then there are things to me that are just stories that people like to hear. I'll take it back to Deflategate with Tom Brady and the football. I thought that was a fucking joke. Like, I thought it was an utter nonsensical joke that somehow anybody on this planet thinks that Tom Brady had an advantage because there was 0.2 of a pound of pressure off a fucking football. You just don't know anything about playing the quarterback position, at all. On top of the fact that his stats were better in the second half when they reinflated the balls than they were in the first half. That is such not an issue.
And by the way, it's easier to throw a deflated ball, inflated ball than a deflated ball too. Like.
Absolutely is, especially deep balls. Like it's very difficult to throw a deep ball because you have to squeeze the ball even harder and it doesn't come out right. So I'm saying my point is to say if you think that helped, then you don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Like, an overly deflated ball doesn't help. Even earlier this year with the burger scandal, or maybe that was from last year. I don't even know what it's. Dude, what are we really talking about here? We're talking about something that probably every team does. Every team does. Stealing signs. Did they maybe take it too far? Maybe. Did Harbaugh, require this guy to do that? Maybe that's the violation. But what are we talking about, dude? A guy with a cell phone, like taking video that anybody can do at any time? It's utter nonsense. And anybody who's out there thinking, and I'm no Michigan fan, so I'm doing this for you so that you don't look biased. Anybody out there who thinks that Michigan is winning these games because they stole signals, you're out of your mind. You're just not watching. So it just becomes the story is bigger than the crime. That's all.
Well, Neuheisel was on Dan Patrick today, and he was saying they were going through it, obviously, and Dan's like, listen, I just feel like it's become annoying at this point. And he goes, someone obviously is in for Harbaugh. And Neuheisel said, yeah, and it's a long list.
Well, and maybe that's so, but that doesn't make it right.
No, we know, like, Harbaugh's a weird guy. He pisses everybody off. He gets everyone on their skin. But, dude, this is how, like, ridiculous it sounds. And then you have one of the faces of CBS football, SEC CBS football, coming out and saying, yeah, he's unliked, and it makes it even worse. Like,
right. And I'll make it even easier for you. If Michigan was 5-4, what's their record right now? 8-0, 9-0?
9-0.
If they were 5-4 right now, do you think you'd be hearing about this story?
Well, that's what Howard said. If this was Purdue, no one would give a shit.
I was just going to say, if this was Purdue, if this was Rutgers, if it was Rutgers that it came out on first, do you think anybody gives a rat's ass?
Nothing.
Come on, like it's such a non-issue. We got a conference, the SEC, and probably the Big 12, which has been handing out cash for decades before the NIL, but they were just better at hiding it. And you're talking to me about a cheeseburger and a cell phone video that anybody could do the same thing. It's ridiculous.
Jay Feely, ex-kicker for Cardinals and stuff. He does stuff on CBS or something now. He came out on Twitter. So, guys, people were telling me stories in college of getting bags of money. Like,
come on.
And that's not worse than, like, what? I don't know. I go back to the story I told you with Glen Rock. They knew the name of our play in high school. College, you can't scout live in college. Come on.
And then you know what your job is? To change it up or to run something off it so that you let them play what they're expecting and give them something different.
Like
you know what I mean? I remember that, and I remember we ended up running a convoy go, which was basically a screen, fake the screen and then go, and we made a nice completion off of it. Like that's the nature of the game. That's the nature. It's not cheating. That's being smart. Let's be honest. That's being smart.
Just like Philly with the tush push. They run it, all the thing, and then all of a sudden they run an end around to it, and like, oh shit, now we gotta defend other things. That's called coaching, dude.
Yes, that's strategy. Like that's smart.
Yeah, I'm sick
of this whole thing. Right. It's not cheating. There's a big difference between cheating. If you kick someone in the balls in a UFC fight, that's fucking cheating. That's different.
Yeah.
Okay? Like it's just absurd what level we're taking this to. So if Harbaugh is involved in having that guy on the sideline at Central Michigan, that's over and above, and maybe that needs to be punished more.
Yeah.
But the bigger story to me here is it looks like there's a lot of other schools involved, and if that's true, we need to hold off and really do a thorough investigation, and they all have to get treated the same.
Mm-hmm.
That's the brilliance of the lawyers, the school, Harbaugh, whatever, coming out and saying, it ain't just us, and we got evidence to prove it. Now, you want to burn me? You want to burn me? You're all coming down with me.
Exactly.
Because now, that's exactly what happens now is he gets to say, this is what happened. And I want to see 6 Big Ten coaches get suspended. That's what they're going to do. You're going to suspend them for the Ohio State game and get murdered for that one? You might literally get killed in the parking lot. You're going to not let them go in the college football playoffs. That's brilliant for your conference. That's good business.
Right, exactly.
It's insanity.
And the kids that are working their ass off every fucking day.
Who had nothing to do with it.
All right, let's get cooking here. NCAA Week 10 in review. All top 4 teams last week. A little sluggish start the first half, and then everyone kind of got it together in the second half. Penn State, the game you were at, good time, blowout city.
Let me say this.
Okay.
The game was crap.
Game
It was
crap.
close, I guess, for a little while, but it was crap. But let me say this to everyone listening. You understand this fully. If you've only been to NFL games, get your ass to a Division I, at least relatively large college football home game. This was Maryland, not exactly the greatest team in the world. They're on a 3-game losing streak, all that shit. Bro, the atmosphere at a college football game, there is no comparison to an NFL game. An NFL game is corporate, it's hardcore, it's me versus you, and it's old and angry, okay? The atmosphere at a college football game is young and fun, and yes, it's competitive, but it's like fun competitive. We ended up sitting, we didn't know where we were sitting, but it ends up being like in a section that was mostly Penn State. Oh, by the way, half the stadium was filled with Penn State fans.
Yeah, I told you that was going to happen.
And the kids around us and the people around us were fun and nice. And, we told them, hey, we're actually kind of Penn State fans, but we just wanted to feel the college football vibe of a home field. It's awesome, bro. It's awesome. Had such a good time. And it's just way different. And I'll be honest with you, I totally prefer that. We're already planning. I saw something popped up on my timeline, probably on Facebook or Instagram. Don't know which one it was. But it was how Virginia Tech comes out to their game.
Enter Sandman.
And it's Enter Sandman. And I sent it to my girl, and I'm like, next trip? Like,
well, it's funny. I was going to tell you, if you waited 2 weeks, Michigan's at Maryland next week, we could all went down together.
I tell you, you know what the first thing out of our lips when we left? I would come here again.
Yeah.
Like, I would definitely go there again to watch a game, to be part of that. It was so cool. I don't know if I sent you the panoramic view because we were pretty up high, with the night sky, but the lights on the field, but you can still see the buildings, and they look so college, and there's trees. You don't see any of that at NFL games. You know what I mean?
Right,
it's just so metallic.
No, you do not.
And stale.
You do not.
So anyway, it was a lot of fun, but it ended up being a blowout, which I could care less about. Didn't take away from it at all. It would have added to it if it was closer, but it didn't take away from it.
Washington 52, USC 42. Defense is a myth again.
This game meant more to me about like what's coming in the future. We'll probably talk a little bit about how Washington's playing Utah, maybe the Pac-12 championship game, maybe even the playoffs with Washington. So it's kind of what we expected. Again, if you listen to the show, you make a lot of money. Not on our picks. I don't even know. I don't think our picks did particularly well. I don't even know, but. If you just listen to how we break down games, holy shit, you can make a killing, dude. Like, you'd probably be hitting it like 75%. We said take the over. It went over by like 30. Yep. So no surprise there. Caleb Williams crying in the stands. That was kind of the story. Not that big a deal to me. I don't love it. It's a little self-indulging to me. Be with your team, not with your mom.
Yeah, you could do that after the game, dude. Behind closed doors. A little like look at me kind of thing.
A little grandstanding. Yeah, it's a little look at me.
He's becoming. He's getting nitpicked now, like back and forth, but he's earned it. He's doing it himself.
Did it to himself. There's none of this is. All of this is self-inflicted. What I will say, and again, I'll use what somebody else was saying. Although we said it like 3 weeks ago. Joel Klatt was on TV and he said he's got a little too much hero ball in him. Mm-hmm. And that's when I said he's got a little Johnny Manziel. Johnny Manziel in college was the ultimate hero ball, and it friggin' worked. Beat Alabama, almost beat him twice, won lots of games with hero ball. That shit is not going to work in the NFL. And he is a little undersized. So, still great player. I can criticize certain parts without telling you thinking he sucks. Right. I think he's still very good and potentially a special player. But he's going to need some things around him. He's going to need the right coach. It's not automatic. Let's put it that way. It's not automatic.
Texas sneaks by Kansas State. They got Quinn Ewers back this week. That was a huge win. Hold on to that game. I thought Kansas State. I mean, I don't know how much you watched because you were doing your thing at the game.
But I saw highlights. I watched.
So K-State goes for 2, which was ridiculously stupid. Get this thing in overtime. You're on the road, and you had Texas on the ropes. Didn't even get a pass.
Texas was up early, right?
Texas was up, but K-State came storming back.
Yeah. So what happened was, what was interesting to me, and this speaks to experience. So the young quarterback for Malik something or other for Texas gets off to a really hot start. And then I don't know if there was a turnover, something happened, and two turnovers, and he lost it. And now he's hesitant, and now he's useless. They might as well have got into like single wing or
wildcat
offense, because at that point he was useless. And what did our theme of the week last week seemed to be like momentum. We kept talking about momentum. This was like a perfect example. Mm-hmm. Like K-State got momentum, never really gave it up, and Texas just held on by the skin.
Held on for dear life.
But again, we said it would be a very tough game, that Kansas State is a real team, and they are. So
yeah.
It says a lot about Texas too, because your backup quarterback lost it, and you still did what you had to do to eke out a win.
You're gonna have those games, man. You just at the end of the day, just take a deep breath, survive in advance. That is what it is.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You're not happy that I was at home. If you do that on the road, then it's a little more comforting. But in the end, you win the game and you move on. So yeah.
Alabama 14-point win against LSU. They are. I tell you, one half they're great, next half they're not great, and then I got to be honest with you, I don't want to play them. Like, I don't want to play safe, but like,
sure. Yeah, it's funny. It's like we're so biased of what to expect from Alabama, and they're not what we've seen in the last, 6, 8 years, maybe 9 years. A lot of explosive wide receivers, deep threats, guys getting open and taking it to the house. They're not that
quarterback with all day to throw. Like, they don't have they're not that type of team.
They're not premier, but they're 8-1, or 7-1, whatever the hell they are, and beating good teams, and still, frankly, still in the hunt. So, to your point, who wants to play them? Georgia. I think Georgia wants to play them.
Georgia's going to have to play them
in the SEC championship game.
I know.
Because they're the only thing standing in the way with all these teams that are either undefeated or one loss. And then you take into account Georgia's schedule. If Georgia plays Alabama in the SEC championship game and Alabama wins that game, there's a really good argument that Georgia is out. Because you look and you say, who'd they beat?
It's chaotic.
Who'd they beat?
Well, we'll get into that in a little bit, but they got some games coming.
So Alabama's still tough. They're just not what we've always come to see them as.
Oklahoma State takes the last bedlam.
Indeed, and I was pretty impressed by this one.
I'm happy for him too. I always like Gundy and stuff. They're always like the little brother in that battle.
Yep, and I think he's such a great coach because, as we said last week, always working with lesser than Oklahoma.
And he adjusts his offense to what they have.
Every year. So that's what makes him so good to me, is his ability to adjust. This is just a very different team than even what you saw in the beginning of the year. What did they start off, like 1-2 in the beginning of the year?
Yeah.
And now they
went off, what, 7 straight?
Yeah.
6 straight?
Oklahoma.
6 straight?
He's just a really good coach. And it was an impressive game, an impressive win. Unimpressive to me for Oklahoma. You come off – there's something not there. There's something missing.
That's the best way to put it. There's something
missing. I feel
missing.
like it's the head coach. I don't know that they hired the right coach. So there's just something missing there.
Yeah, and they beat Texas in the Red River, and then they just laid a couple eggs, and they got lucky the one week they won by 2 or something. I don't know. Yeah, there's something missing. I wouldn't be shocked if they lose again.
I like the quarterback.
I don't love him though. I like him. I don't love him.
I like him. I don't love him. I like him. The wide receivers,
And again, we're spoiled too. We went from Baker to Hurts to
Murray. But this is the nature of an elite program, right? This is the nature of an elite program. And here's also what's unique about this. What is that coach's name?
Venables.
Venables, right?
Venables.
You talk about being really fortunate. Normally, when you get a head coaching gig, you're taking over for someone who failed.
Right.
So you're really starting from scratch, building a program from not nothing, but from little. There's a reason the previous guy got fired, right? You walked into a program that was elite. Now, granted, Caleb Williams isn't there, but your problem right now isn't quarterback. Like, you have a lot of other problems, and one of your biggest problems is you're a defensive coach and your defense is average. So there's just problems. Yeah, it's just not. They don't do it. They're not special in any way, and that's never a good sign when you're at one of these elite schools. You got to be special at something.
Last one for me. Clemson upsets Notre Dame. Notre Dame. I was watching some of that game.
Now you texted me that Sam.
Hartman, he's terrible.
Didn't do well.
He wasn't great. First of all, he holds on to the ball forever. I know Notre Dame doesn't have great receivers, but they have a great offensive line. They got a great running game. They get the ball to start the game. The running back number 7, I forgot his name. Dude, 10 yards a clip. 10 yards a clip. They settle for a field goal. They get the ball the second time. Clemson goes right down the field, scores. They get the ball, 3 and out, all throws.
Gotcha.
Dude, 7-3, you're going to the fucking passing game? And that's where I think Marcus Freeman's above his skis, too. Like, yeah. I don't know if he's – and I don't know how long Notre Dame people are going to, like, last with 8-4 there. Like, I really don't know.
No. Of course not.
I don't –
Of course not. Especially, as you said earlier in the season, with Urban Meyer just out there.
Yeah.
8-4, not going to cut it. Not going to cut it. What's the remaining schedule they have? They got Stanford, probably. Right?
That's a good call. I think they do have Stanford.
Should be a win.
Yeah, that should be a win. They stink. Notre Dame. Yeah, where the hell they play this week? Oh, they're off this week. That's why.
Okay.
Yeah, how about a week 10 bye? What the fuck? What is that about?
Preparing for the bowl game practice.
They got Wake Forest and Stanford. So,
I mean, that should be 2 wins. They got 4 wins now, 4 losses now, right?
3.
So they got 3 losses now. I mean, what? They're going to finish 10-3.
Yeah, they'll get like Tulane in the bowl, win that game, and fucking those.
Yeah. But it's disappointing. It is disappointing.
Yeah. You had Ohio State game wrapped up and won, and then like.
Yeah, you had Sam Hartman, who I felt like most of the season. Again, I didn't see the game on Saturday, so I can't speak to it. But most of the season, I just think he was never used properly. Yeah, I don't love the coach. I don't love the job he's doing. I wish I was built like him.
Yeah, guys.
I wish I looked like him.
Yeah. This week 11 preview. We'll start off with the big game in my eyes. Number 3 Michigan at number 10 Penn State. Noon kick, high noon.
This is definitely something that Michigan is in a really tough spot. It's never, ever, ever good to be in the middle of chaos and on the road. If they were at home, I'd be like, no problem. And I think there's certainly going to be this like rallying cry, like let's rally around our coach. This has been going on a couple weeks now. I don't know how long that lasts. Okay, and you hit the road against a pretty good team who I will say has made some adjustments since that Ohio State game, and they do play really good defense. It's by far the best defense Michigan has played this year.
I think that's going to help. I think they're laser focused because they know they have to be.
They have to be. But it's impossible to ignore what's going on. You know what I mean? So, I think they'll win the game? I think they should win the game. Penn State offensively is not great.
Well,
so I think they'll win the game. But I'm just saying that this is a very dangerous spot. Penn State would love to do nothing more than to knock them off right now.
Oh, well, I think that's everybody at this point.
They're going to be quite motivated too.
Obviously we're a veteran team at this point. I think that helps with keeping it glued together, and I think that helps going on the road. JJ, I think, compared to Aller, I think that's a huge difference. I think I've said this for years, and me and my buddies that are Michigan fans always say, I think they kind of hold shit back. Last week, JJ didn't run the ball.
Harbaugh definitely does.
JJ didn't run the ball at all last week. And we're like, dude, run the fuck. Like, JJ. And then I'm like, oh, you know what? They're trying to keep him fresh for next week and all that stuff. Like,
you want to know my favorite part about McCarthy? He shows up with big plays in the biggest spots.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a big game, big
He's
spot
a baller, man. He's a good player.
And if anybody's going to show up big, I'd be – you even think about that TCU game, which was a massive disappointment last year. They were down by a lot, and he rallied his fucking ass off. And if there was a comeback to be made, which there almost was, it was because of him.
Yeah.
It wasn't because of running game. It wasn't because of defense. It was because of McCarthy. So you got the right guy behind center to rally your troops.
Correct.
And say, hey, get your heads focused on what we're doing here. We can't control any of that. We can control this right here, right now. Let's do it. And as you said, a veteran team, veteran quarterback, strong defense. They should win the game. Defense travels well. That's one thing I always say.
Both defenses are good. Both defenses are good. Our offensive line, they're not running the ball as great this year, but you know what? They're throwing the ball better. So I think they're not focused on a run game. So I think they can go back to it if they need to. They got 2 great tight ends. I think Penn State has trouble covering the tight ends. I like that it's at noon. Night game would have been a fucking chaotic, all this shit all day long. I think noon, you get out, you get in, you get out, hopefully.
Yep.
Gonna be a good game. I'm excited for it. Finally, you just focus on football. You're finally playing a top 10 team and, onward. But
now let me ask you this. I don't think it'll happen because I think it's too late in the week. But if you heard later tonight or early first thing tomorrow morning that Harbaugh was going to be suspended for 2 games, would that make you nervous about the game on Saturday?
I think I mean I'm already nervous about the game Saturday, but right. that would also be very bullshit for the conference to do that. That would be.
I don't disagree.
That would be awful on a Friday.
Yeah, I don't
morning
disagree.
To do that that'd be awful.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to.
I don't think so either because I think what Michigan lawyers did, I think scared the shit out of them. From what I'm hearing out of there, but
I was just curious.
Definitely.
NCAA, you can never trust the NCAA.
I would give the job. I would give the game day coaching job to Mike Hart because he's got a great running back room, and I think he can kind of coach them. I would let the coordinators do their thing, and I think and Hart's been coaching for a long time now, so
right.
I think that's what I would do if that was a situation. But what do I know? Yeah. Number 8, Alabama at Kentucky. Letdown spot here, bro.
The at Kentucky thing is interesting. Listen, we talk about this week in, week out, like with home teams. Going on the road in college football is the hardest thing. That's where all the upsets happen. If you're looking to find upsets, they happen to good teams on the road. Yep. Good top 10 teams, top 5 teams don't really lose at home in an upset. Michigan, Ohio State, that's different. They're both top 10. I'm just saying, who's Alabama playing again?
Kentucky.
So I don't even know if Kentucky's ranked anymore. They were at some point. They're not. So this would be massive, but this is where it would happen at Kentucky. I'd be surprised if this wasn't a close game at the half, but I think Alabama's probably
I would agree with that.
Too much.
I can
if
see
Will
that.
Levis was still there, I would say the sirens would be going for upset alert.
A little sleepy start, noon kick, 11 o'clock on the
road
in the Central Time Zone. Yeah,
coming off the LSU game.
Correct.
I could see it, but I still think they end up winning.
Going down to your heart, rivalry game, Miami at Florida State. You said like sluggish. You wanted 28-0 at the half. They were.
Now they ran away late, but
I don't know about this Jordan Travis either. Like
I think he's good. I think he's a good college quarterback.
I think he had a couple guys out too. That hurts him too.
I think he's a good college quarterback. He has some decent mobility, not special mobility, but decent mobility. I just don't think he doesn't intrigue me as an NFL prospect.
Is he Desmond Ritter-ish?
Yeah, I think that's kind of fair. I think that's fair. He's a winner too. He's gotten better every year.
Yeah, agreed.
And the other thing is he's obviously quite veteran at this point. He's been the starter at least 3 years now, which gives them an edge in this game. Is this game at Miami?
No,
it's at Florida State, right? They're just huge favorites. This is like 2 touchdowns.
17 points?
17 and a half, I think. That's just a lot.
That's a lot of wood.
If I wasn't a Florida State fan, I would probably take Miami.
Well, you can't trust Miami at all.
Can't trust them at all, but I think
my God.
I think the one thing you can trust with Miami is when they're fired up about something, and that's something meaning Florida State.
Yeah.
I think they show up. I think they show up and play tough at least for a while. Maybe Florida State almost plays the same game as last week, pulls away late.
Well, Miami's got a little bit more talent than Pitt, so
there's a lot of athletes there. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of athletes on Miami. Now, again, the other side of it is Florida State's going to be up for this game too.
Exactly.
Like they know they're not playing Pitt,
and they know they got no wiggle room. They got to hold on to that spot.
No,
so that's
why
you have
to be undefeated. Yeah. And they know the history of Miami. They hate Miami. They're going to want to pound Miami. So there's a lot there. Just at 17 and a half is friggin' a lot, man.
Question for you, real quick. Would you drop Mike Norvell right now for Deion?
You know what? If you'd have asked me this in the beginning of the season, I would have said yes, without question. And that's not having seen anything with Colorado. You got to give Mike Norvell some real credit, man, because he was not well liked his first year and change. A lot of guys transferred out, and he turned this program around.
He got the right guys out.
He got the right guys left and kept the right guys. So,
correct.
So no, I wouldn't at this point now.
I agree with you.
I just don't. You got to give a guy his credit where it's earned.
And what do we say all the time, too? The grass isn't always greener.
No, yeah. And look, as we've pointed out with Colorado, maybe maybe things weren't as great as they looked in the first few games. They've won one game since. So,
you brought this
but
up
I do
before.
love the idea of Dion being
I know. I
being
get it.
there.
I get it.
Recruiting would be
The shiny toy.
unbelievable.
Number 18, Utah at number 5, Washington. I feel like for a month straight we've had Utah play a top fucking 16.
Because it's all it's the Pac-12, right? We get these great Pac-12 games. I think this game is fascinating, and here's why. Washington's undefeated, but if you look at their games, they play to their competition, and their defense is not very good. This is probably – no, I take it back. Oregon's probably the best defense they've faced, but this is the second best defense they've faced all season.
Yep.
And I could see this being a lot closer, than people might expect. I think the line is like 9.5.
Yeah.
9.5, 10, something like that. So I could see this being a little closer. Plus, was it last week that Utah got smoked, or 2 weeks ago Utah got smoked?
They smoked someone else.
They smoked somebody, so they got their payback. I suspect this will be a closer game.
I agree.
Yeah, it might be pretty high scoring. I could see 38-35 or something like that. But
36.
I wouldn't expect them to get. Yeah, I wouldn't expect Utah to get blasted like they did against Oregon.
No, because that's what Winningham does. He'll adjust. He'll figure out like a shell to guard against those deep balls. Maybe keep everyone in front and let Washington kick field goals or something. Something weird like that. I don't know.
But I do love Michael Penix.
Yeah, he's fun to watch. I can't believe he was at Indiana once upon a time.
It's crazy because I thought he was okay then for Indiana. Like I thought he was really good for. I was like, wow, Indiana got this kid. That's pretty good. Like, but I didn't think anything. He might be actually him and Drake May, but it's probably pretty close. The best pure passers of the football. Like if you look where he puts the ball, especially on deep balls, fucking accurate and the right angles. Like puts it in the right spot. I mean, he's really good.
You know what the problem is now with the transfer portal? As soon as a kid's decent at Tulsa, he's gone.
Unless your parents went there or something, I don't know.
Drake May's whole family went to North Carolina, so he stayed.
So he stays, right? Yeah, he's a legacy. So that sometimes I guess that could be different,
Number 13, Tennessee at number 14, Missouri. Missouri fought their balls off last week, dude.
It's a tough spot. You come off Georgia. It's at home though, right?
Yeah, it's at home.
It's at Missouri. It's a hell of a tough spot. Like you just lay it on the line against Georgia, and you're kind of in the game, think you have a chance, but you lose. And to come home, which is great. If this game was on the road, I think they'd be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
I just think it's tough. I think Tennessee is pretty decent. I think they're a decent team. This might be the most fascinating game of the day. Like as far as intrigue, I could see this totally going either way. Missouri, as we've talked about. Older team, they do this every 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Tennessee's more talented, but Missouri kind of is the San Antonio Spurs, right? Like been together, team kind of thing. So if you told me that Missouri won by 10, or if you told me Tennessee won by 10, I wouldn't even be shocked at either one of those. And that's a 20-point swing. Neither one would surprise me.
Yeah.
It'd be a fun game to watch.
USC at number 6, Oregon.
There's no chance USC wins this game.
I know. As soon as we say that, though, I know.
There's none. There's zero chance. What's the spread on that game? Do you know?
A lot.
20, 20
22. Let me see.
Is it that high?
Hold on.
You got to be shitting me. You've got to be shitting me.
I got to tell you, if it is, I still don't trust USC.
That can't be that high.
No, I'm 14 and a half. 14
okay.
and a half.
14 and a half. That's still a lot when you think about USC was in the playoff talk.
Over under 75. Over?
Yeah, because USC can't stop a nosebleed.
49-40.
What did I say last week?
It's 89.
USC couldn't stop a period with a pack of maxi pads. They can't.
Back-to-back weeks we get that reference.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's not very sanitary, but it's
I
guess it is.
Not, I mean, no.
They can't stop anybody, dude. They can't stop anybody. So they're not going to stop Oregon. They're not going to stop Oregon in Oregon. I think that number's probably pretty close.
Yeah, I think it's probably there.
Because I could see 40-something to 24, 48-24. That puts it right near the number. I think USC might score fewer points this week. I think they might be very much in give-up mode. I think Caleb Williams might be in self-preservation mode. Maybe don't take certain shots. Don't put yourself at risk. And he's their whole team right now. So
I agree.
One
more, brother. Number 9, your favorite Lane Kiffin at
Fighting Kiffins
at Georgia.
I would love to tell you that this is going to be a good game, but Lane and Ole Miss has done
never
nothing
show up in these games. I know they never
in their
do.
history with him as coach to
I agree.
give me
totally.
reason to believe in him.
My buddy's a Georgia fan. He texts me. He goes, "Do I have any reason to worry?" I go, "Lane never shows up in these games, dude."
Where's the game?
Georgia.
Yeah, there's no chance, unfortunately. And to be fair, they're outgunned. Like Georgia has way better talent all over the place. I would give them a puncher's chance if the game was at Mississippi, but it's not. So I suspect a double-digit win here.
It's pretty easy. College football rankings, real quick. Not much movement at all, I don't think. 1 Ohio State, 2 Georgia, 3 Michigan, 4 Florida State, 5 Washington, 6 Oregon, 7 Texas, 8 Alabama, 9 Ole Miss, and Penn State went up 1 to 10. I think that's really all we got.
Yeah, so not much movement. And Alabama has a Texas problem. Like, unless Texas loses.
Yes, they do.
Unless Texas loses, it almost would be better if, like, Texas wasn't as good. You know, if they had 2 losses, or if they lost to Oklahoma, if they lost to K-State or something like
right.
that.
They're probably,
to knock them out of the way, because it still wouldn't be a bad loss, and you would move up in the rankings. The problem is, as long as Texas has 1 loss, it's impossible to jump them. I would think, even if you beat Georgia, how do you jump?
Yeah, because you're going to have all this chaos going on. Like
the problem this year, and I call it a problem. It's not really a problem for us because it gives us a lot to talk about, especially in the month of December. But think of how many really good 1-loss teams you have and are going to have. Michigan or Ohio State is going to be a 1-loss team.
Yep.
Probably Ohio State, right? But Ohio State will still have wins over Notre Dame and Penn State. Florida State undefeated. Georgia undefeated. If they lose to Alabama, they're a 1-loss team. If they don't, they're undefeated. Those 2 teams have to be in.
Oregon, Washington.
Have to be in. And you got Oregon, Washington,
Texas,
Ohio State, Michigan. Like, there's only 4 spots. If Florida
what if Penn State beats Michigan, Michigan beats Ohio State? Now you got 3 1-loss teams out of the Big Ten.
I will tell you what, if that does happen, Michigan is probably on the outside looking in.
Their schedule.
Because then at that point, Ohio State will have beaten Penn State and Notre Dame, which are much. It's a better schedule. So
although those Notre Dame wins aren't looking too great right now either. I mean,
it's not as good. Which, by the way, that's a very plausible scenario. I know you don't like.
That's why I brought it up.
And the other reality is, one of those 3 teams definitely has to make it, because the Big Ten is probably the best conference in the country this year, wouldn't you? Well, maybe Pac-12 is best, but I don't think we're going to get more than 1 out of the Pac-12. You have to get a Big Ten team.
They showed the possible next year, like the 12, and they showed so I didn't know this. So it's Ohio State, Georgia, Florida State, and Washington or Oregon. And Michigan would be 5 because they have Ohio State win the conference. So the conference winners go ahead, and then obviously dude, it's crazy though. They got Texas, Penn State, Tulane, Michigan, in the big house.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
If you think about this year, this is the perfect year for an argument for more than 4 teams.
I know. The timing's perfect.
I mean, there's the potential that Oregon could be left out.
I know.
If Washington were to lose, let me ask you this: if Washington loses, let's say we get a Washington-Oregon in the Pac-12 championship. If Washington loses to Oregon in that game,
they're gone. Oregon jumps them.
They do, right? Because Oregon lost a very close game at Washington.
And I was going to say, that's a neutral site win for.
And they have blasted everybody else.
Yeah, I know.
So
that's why I'm a little cautious with that USC game, because if they come out and play, Oregon.
I think Oregon knows. See, the most dangerous teams in the last 3 weeks of the season are the 1-loss teams, because they're the more desperate.
That's true.
Florida State's not desperate. Alabama's desperate. Texas is desperate. Penn State is desperate. Oregon's desperate. You know.
Yep.
So those are your. They know week in week out. We cannot lose. The other teams think it, Like Florida State is thinking it, but
Right.
you don't know what it's even like to lose, so it's hard to get there. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
It's a slight difference, dude. We're talking about real small difference, but this time of year in these big games, that's a lot of times. You get Florida State gets off to a really slow start against Miami because they're sleepwalking because they win every week. You don't know that you come back. Maybe you don't come back this week. You know what I mean? I'm more scared with this one than I am the rest of the way. Like even ACC.
No, I agree with that. Yeah,
like,
maybe.
So this isn't probably the most dangerous game left on their schedule.
Yeah.
Michigan hasn't played anybody like Penn State this year.
Right.
Now Penn State has played someone like Michigan. I don't think Ohio State is as good as Michigan, but they've played an elite team to say, oh, we understand what level we need to get to. Now again, Michigan to me is very veteran, so I don't think that's an issue, but it could cause a slow start, and then who knows? Momentum is a bitch, right? So it's fascinating this year when you look at those standings and that top 10, I guess, and really the playoffs. It's really going to get muddy. It's really going to get muddy over the next 3 weeks, like really muddy, really muddy.
Big time.
Where me and you might not even be able to agree on who should be in.
I know.
On possibly more than one. It might be not even clear with more than one team on who should be in.
I'm counting on that actually.
You know what I'm saying? So
yes, sir.
A lot of fun.
NFL Week 9 in review. We'll start off in Germany. Kansas City 21-0 lead. Miami comes back, and they couldn't quite get there. 21-14 final. I'm so sick of these fucking European games.
Don't like them. I don't hate the idea of football in the morning. I think you're getting screwed as a team by having to play over there. I don't like it. It should just be a home game. I don't like it. I don't like it for the team. For me, it's great. I mean, I love having a cup of coffee with a football game on in the morning. I'm up anyway, so it's great. But I just don't like it for the team. If you're Miami, was that supposed to be a home game for you?
KC.
It was. Now it doesn't hurt them because they end up winning. But if you were to lose that game, like, what if we were in fucking Kansas City and it was 45 degrees out? Maybe we win that game. It's just bullshit. I just don't like it. You lose a competitive advantage. So. And
you look, Tyreek Hill going back to KC, like it just loses.
It would have been so much more fun.
I know, it's stupid.
It would have been so much more fun.
There's another one this week.
It would have been the 8:00 game, to be honest.
Yeah, you're right. Josh Dobbs traded to Minnesota on Tuesday, thrown to the Wolves, and come out with a win.
The two coolest, not the best or biggest, but the two coolest stories of Sunday, because there weren't a lot of big games.
Right.
But the two coolest stories, and they were so cool. Josh Dobbs coming in this game, he doesn't even know the terminology. I don't know if you saw, he's basically like introducing himself to the offensive line during the game.
He's going snap counts on the sideline, how his cadence is, because that's fucking.
And they come out and win, and I love this kid. He's so
I do
smart.
Too.
You watch him in the post game, and you're like, I just love him. I want Minnesota to win every fucking game. I want this kid to be a Jet. I don't care.
By the way, that guy can coach, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. So that's one story. And then the other one was the Houston game.
Oh, my God.
Obviously, C.J. Stroud went bananas.
We'll go right to that now,
game.
Yeah.
But the cool thing was that they had their fucking running back. They wouldn't let him kick an extra point. I guess maybe it's a little too far or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But they let him go for a field goal, and he freaking crushed it.
Bro, did you see that? Dude, everyone was going bananas. That was great, man.
Oh, my God.
Dude, it won in the game.
Bro, I just was like, that's the coolest thing. Like, the look on even his face, the smile he had on his face, the smile on the coach's face. Like, the look is, you believe this shit? You believe this shit?
Stroud said at halftime or something, he goes, oh, who's kicking? And they said, oh, whatever his first name is, Devi, Agubwali, whatever. He goes, Devi got it. And Stroud looked at him, and he was smiling right back at him. And he was like, all right, I guess.
All right, let's go.
Let's go.
You know what it is, dude? It's the ultimate, like, in sports. Like, so what we see in the NFL, and a lot of it in college too, but mainly in the NFL, it's the best of the best. And it's the best kickers, the best quarterbacks, the best receivers, the best linemen. You saw what it's like to be a high school coach. Like, it's your wide receiver who kicks your extra points, and he gets hurt, and you're like, shit, what do we do now? Like you have nobody. There is no, like, a lot of times in high school, especially with some smaller schools, there's no backup plan. You know, how many times were we in games, probably when you were there, where we're like, Mikey Noviola's the quarterback, and they're like, who's your backup? It's like, Mikey Noviola is the quarterback. He got hurt in the one game where his ankle, and I'm like, keep walking because there ain't nobody else, dude. we walk to the bus if you can't go. So that's what it had, that feel of like, oh shit, like could you imagine like the punter can't kick, like it's just the running back. It was so
crazy.
Cool. It was so
cool. You're not carrying multiple guys, dude. It's
both those stories were just way too cool and make you love sports because it brings out the humanity in sports. It's not just a helmet and a jersey.
And the little kid in you too, it brings out when you were like Pop Warner, like you said just said.
Absolutely. By the way, bad loss for Atlanta in that game. You got to find a way. You got to find a way to shut them down. They did exactly what I thought they would on offense.
Why do you draft Bijan Robinson 8th if you don't use him? What the hell's going on?
I have no answer for you, dude. I have no answer for you. You're talking to the wrong guy. I found 6 ways to Sunday to get the ball to Troy Bruin on every chance I had. So you have that guy. You got to get, whether it was you as a receiver or Jeremy Desane as a receiver, like you get it to your guys. What else? What are your options?
I have no idea.
You didn't even have Drake London. Like, get it to your guy.
I have Algiers a nice back, but Christ, he's not like.
I don't understand.
I don't know.
Now again, you know what we don't know? We don't know what went on at practice that week. We don't know that he showed up 2 hours late to a meeting. We don't know any of that.
Doesn't seem like that kind of guy, but I know what you're saying.
I agree. I'm just saying I don't know.
I get it. For the second time this year, a really good football team goes into Baltimore and gets their ass kicked.
Handed to them.
Seattle smoked in Baltimore.
Now, I just want to be careful to say this happens sometimes. Teams get hot, they get cold. We watched early in the year, Baltimore lost to the Fighting Gardner Minshew's. Like, there's ebbs and flows throughout the year, man. So they are definitely playing ridiculously well. I think that's a tough place for NFC teams to go. If you notice, both of those teams are NFC teams who neither one of them has seen Lamar Jackson probably ever. So I think that matters. We'll get a better idea this week because they're playing the Browns. But they look impressive. They definitely look impressive. And the funny thing is that Lamar's not really the reason that they're winning games. They're running the ball and their defense
is sick,
shitting on people. So, by the way, I just want to go back to that Houston game. C.J. Stroud, dude, 400 and change, 5 touchdowns, no picks.
He's still one all year,
bro. And some of those throws down the stretch, it wasn't just that they were good throws; they were decisive. Like he hit that back foot and he made a decision, and boom, that ball was gone. Especially that last touchdown pass that he threw. It was as decisive as they get. Like there was no. What do we see with Zach all the time, right? We see with Daniel Jones sometimes. We see with Justin Fields sometimes. It's like hesitate, wait, should I wait? I don't know. And then it's over. You either throw a pick or you get
it's over. It's over.
Decisiveness. And it comes down to anticipation and reading quickly. And CJ Stroud clearly can do this. I'll toot my own horn a little on this one because I said he's before the draft, I said is the first kid coming out of Ohio State that I'm like, I think he's a pro. What's funny is he's probably physically the least talented of all the guys that have come out of Ohio State in a while. But I watched him. He reads defenses. Yeah. He's a thrower of the ball. God, he looks good. What's funny? He's playing for Houston, and he looks like Deshaun Watson did when Deshaun Watson was with Houston. He looks almost identical. Prefers to throw, can run, but prefers to throw.
Let's hope not all the way.
There's some characteristics you might want to let go.
The Eagles survived the Cowboys.
Fun game. I think there's way too much heat on the Cowboys and on Dak. Dak played really good, in my opinion.
A couple weeks in a row now, Dak's played really well.
What's that?
A couple weeks in a row now, Dak's played really well. The defense is starting to let him down.
I'm never one to hammer McCarthy for some of the mistakes he made, but I would tell you what, the sequence down the stretch, like right at the end there, you got the ball like 27 seconds left on a 5-yard line, and you go like incomplete, penalty, sack, penalty, and then now you're, whatever, last play of the game from the 27-yard line.
Third and a quarter of the field.
Like, it just was horrible clock management. I actually take it back to the series before. There was 2 minutes left, and they ran a play, and then they huddled. And they were on, like, the 45-yard line going in on third down, and they didn't get it, and then they huddled again for fourth down. And I'm like, now there's 1:40 left. Yeah, you still got your 3 timeouts, but why no urgency? I don't know why there was no urgency. Yeah. And at the very least, you should have just punt. If you were thinking of just punt it, I don't know. It just was I think the clock management thing gets overplayed with McCarthy, but not on Sunday. I think he fucked up with that stuff this past week.
Yeah.
And that was the difference in the game.
Bengals stay hot.
There's an argument to be made that they're playing the best football in the league right now. Joe Burrow is as hot as any quarterback out there right now. Like he's just
fun to watch, man. He's good.
on fire, bro. He is on fire. Pinpoint accuracy. It looks like the calf is totally healed.
Yeah, it does.
And on top of that, what's best for them, well, I don't know if it's what's best for them, but what's huge for them is that their defense is playing really, really good. Even the games they were in earlier this season, some which they lost, some which they won close. The only reason they were in those games because their defense was tough, and they get after it. It's a really good defense.
The negative part
very
about
dangerous
that,
team.
The whole division's friggin' good, so they're still in last place.
I don't know if you saw this, but to your point, if the playoffs started this coming Sunday, all 4 teams would be in the playoffs.
That's bananas.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's bananas.
And I will also tell you this.
Halfway through the year.
There's only one team that Kansas City doesn't want to see in an AFC championship game right now, and that is Cincinnati. They'll gladly take Baltimore. They'll gladly take the Bills, whatever other teams you want to come up with, the Steelers, whatever. I don't know.
Jacksonville.
They'll gladly take those teams. Gladly. They don't want to play Cincinnati.
Last one, Peter. I'm sorry, I have to bring it up. The Jets have a stinker on Monday Night Football.
You know what? This is expected. What is I still want to call them San Diego. I still think they should go back to San Diego. At least they'd have some real fans. What do they do well? They get after the quarterback. And what does the Jets not do well is protect the quarterback. This is the worst offensive line in the league. And you have a subpar quarterback with the worst offensive line. It's a disaster.
And I got to tell you, nobody was helping him out either.
This is what I'm saying.
Lazard dropped 3 balls.
Well, that's part of it too. Maybe this receiving core isn't as good as we had hoped. Now, again, I don't know how much of that is the receiving core and how much of it is Zach. I still believe Tyler Conklin is a better tight end than people realize. I think it's because all you get to see is him with Zach Wilson as quarterback. But nobody would do good at quarterback on this team right now because that offensive line is atrocious. Laken Tomlinson accounted himself for like 3 sacks in this game or pressures or whatever. It was ugly. It's really bad. It's not all their fault. I mean, you're talking 2 out of the 5 positions on the offensive line are on third stringers. Like there's only 2 guys left. Laken Tomlinson was hurt for a week. Before he was out, there was only 1 guy left that was a starter in the beginning of the season of an average to below average offensive line at the time. So imagine what you're looking at now. The defense continues to be stellar. I think what's his face threw for like 140 yards.
They didn't play great. Yeah,
bad game. So there's a lot of work to be done. I texted you about some scenarios for trades. We could talk about that at the end of the season and stuff like that, but it's always going to be a struggle. And I hear people, you got to give Tim Boyle a chance. You got to you brought in Trevor Siemian. Are you really honestly thinking that things are going to be better with Tim Boyle?
Yeah, I just think everyone's kind of just sick of looking at Zach. I think that's it, the whole thing there.
But you won 2 games in a row against teams you probably shouldn't have beat.
Well, that's where the other shoe is going to drop.
Well, come on. I'm just saying, like, you can't. What do you expect to win every game? Your offensive line stinks.
No.
So cut him a little slack, dude.
All right, Week 10 preview. Houston at Cincinnati. Houston have any shot? You have any shot in this game?
Again,
if it was in Houston, maybe.
If it was in Houston, I was just saying, confidence and momentum is a bitch, especially with young teams. So I give them a puncher's chance because they've got to be feeling good after last week. But no, they might come out a little fiery, but no, I don't see it. Cincinnati's playing as good as anybody in the league right now, so I'll be curious to see if Cincinnati can get C.J. Stroud to turn the ball over because he doesn't. I think he's got fucking 1 interception in the season, which for a rookie is insanity. Absolutely amazing.
The Josh Dobbs show continues. New Orleans at Minnesota.
It's interesting that it'll be at Minnesota, so he'll have the good thing for him is he'll have a full week of getting first string reps the whole week. And
introducing himself to his team.
Yeah, won't that be nice? I wouldn't be surprised if Minnesota found a way to win this game because, as you've pointed out a number of times, Derek Carr at times looks really good, but they don't score many touchdowns.
It's weird.
He makes some unbelievable throws sometimes, and I'm just like, what's going on there? But, Brian Flores is going to have a great game plan, and I suspect he will. And it is funny to me, at least for a week or two, you'll see teams really rally around a backup quarterback, and that situation should only be heightened because of the way Dobbs performed last week and helped them win that game. So I think there might even be some more rallying, at least for another week. Then you come back down to earth and, you just do your thing. But for another week, I can see them rallying a bit.
San Francisco at Jacksonville.
I think this is a really, really tough spot for San Fran. And if
I
it
do
was
too.
4 games in a row here, dude, I mean, wow. It's just, you want to talk about the Jets and Zach Wilson, and I'm not trying to put this on Purdy at all, because last week he had he threw for a lot of yards, had a decent game, had a couple turnovers, but the defense has to play better. And I don't know that this is the team that you want to see when your defense needs to play better. That Jacksonville offense has looked good. Trevor Lawrence.
Both teams off a bye.
Get better every week. Both teams off a bye, so you don't even have that advantage, and you're on the road down in Florida. And it looks like it's going to be pretty warm weather down there. This is a really tough spot, man. Really, really tough spot. Jacksonville's going to be fired up for this game too, because they got a real chance at number 1 seed now. You got to start thinking about this type of stuff. You can't be losing home games if you got a chance at number 1 seed.
Cleveland at Baltimore.
So this is the game I was talking about before. This is much different than having Detroit come into town, having Seattle come into town. Number 1, Cleveland has a fantastic defense. Number 2, there's familiarity there, right? And there's rivalry there, and there's hatred there. And 1st of October, beginning of October, they played, and Baltimore shit on them, beat them pretty handily. So there's some revenge there too. I suspect it'll be a much closer game than it was then.
I agree with you. Detroit at the Chargers.
Just say the wild card in that game would be Deshaun Watson. How much does he play? How does he play? If he plays well, I don't even mean like Houston Texans well. I think if he just gives them his best game that he's had as Cleveland, like equal to whatever his best game was so far, I think they could really win that game. But he's such a wild card. I don't know what to expect from him.
Such a wild card. I agree. Lions at Chargers.
I think this is a fascinating game. Chargers off the short week scares me a little bit. The one thing I'll say could be a key to this game, and you saw it Monday night, the Chargers get after the quarterback. And Jared Goff can get a little squirrely if the pocket gets a little muddy. He can throw it up and get turnovers. And if that happens, I could see this game going to the Chargers. They also play well against the run. It's just if you don't get to them in the pass, their back end is not great.
Correct.
So if Detroit can protect Goff, Detroit has a really good chance to win this game. If they don't, it's going to be a really tough game for them.
Lions off a bye. Chargers short
and
week.
Off of the bad game against Baltimore. So they were licking their wounds a little bit.
No, that's not true. They beat the Raiders Monday night.
You're right. You're right.
Chargers off a short week, and their offense was not great, so they're looking to tighten things up too. It's a good game. This could be a really good game. I think.
It should be an interesting game. It's a tough one to predict to me.
Last one, I wrote this down for you. Jets at Raiders, dude. This is a really big game for the Jets, man. You gotta beat Aiden O'Connell with that defense. But dude, with Max Crosby coming at Zach, I don't know what the hell.
Yeah, the problem is their offense. Yeah, I don't know. Now, do they put a tight end over there? Do they chip them with a running back? I've never seen them do a lot of that. So I've given Nathaniel Hackett some credit in past weeks because he's made Zach Wilson be a little more decisive with quick release throws. But this is one area where I'll pick on him a little bit. Man, you gotta chip. You gotta help these guys out against these special defensive ends. Last week Bosa just one-on-one. You can't do it. You just can't do it. You got to give him some help at least sometimes, so that he's expecting you to give him a tight end, expecting to have a running back come and chip a little bit. So. I don't know how big a game it is. I don't know what the expectations are for the Jets. If you're still thinking playoffs, which I'm not, I guess it is a big
you
game.
You might be the only Jet fan that doesn't. Oh my God!
I never understood what anyone was thinking in the AFC. If they were in the NFC, maybe I'd be thinking it. But in the AFC, I don't know why anybody would be thinking playoffs with this team and that quarterback and that offensive line. I just don't. So I think that I will say that I think they should win the game. But I don't. What does that mean? 16-10? That's what it'll have to be, pretty much. And you're not a playoff team if that's how you're going to beat the Raiders. Give me a break. I know they look good. I know the Raiders looked really good last week. And Antonio Pierce, they seemed happy and free, and everybody's jacking him off. Look, this is exactly what they needed. Okay, let's see when they play a really good team and you tell me what they needed. I have no idea if Antonio Pierce is a good coach or not. I'm just saying this idea. Players need to play free. No, players need to play in structure. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry to tell you. Like this idea that, you can play street ball every week? You're going to go play street ball against Kansas City? You're going to get smoked. So we'll see how long that lasts. So I think the Jets should win, but I don't know what that means. I could also see them only scoring 6 points. Don't know.
Well, good luck.
I just don't think they're on the offensive side. They're bad. It's just Peter, one of the worst offensive teams in the league.
I need some music.
Oh, let's do this.
Last week I was 1-3. Not good.
Oh my goodness.
Last week you were.
Was it 2-2?
1-3.
Yeesh.
You got screwed in the Texan game. They only won by 2.
Yeah.
We had Atlanta -5. Good night, Irene. Both of us.
I loved it too. The game went exactly how I said it was going to go. I said they would score more points with Taylor Heineke, but
you had
decided
Oklahoma.
not to play any defense.
Ugh.
Ugh. Bad.
Oof. All right.
Find some winners this week.
I'm going to the Big Ten, and not where you think. I'm going where Peter just was last week. I'm going to Maryland. I got
4 straight losses for Maryland.
I got 2 teams going in opposite directions. Nebraska's Matt Rule, they're putting it together. Maryland's looked poopy. Give me Nebraska +2.5 at Maryland.
And I thought about this game too, and then I went and looked at the schedule. I saw Nebraska lost to Michigan State last week, which is basically a botched abortion. So I don't know what to think of Nebraska right now. But I know what we talked about. What are they looking for? Looking for a bowl game. So this is their chance to get that bowl game. All right.
Yes, I knew I wanted to add something else. Thank you for that.
I'm gonna do this one first because then I'm struggling with the rest. I'm gonna go here. I'm gonna go to the Big 12. I got like 5 games to pick from. By the way, I want to put it out there. I have 5 college games that I need to pick from and 4 pro games. All dogs. I get beat up every week because I pick too many favorites. So I got nothing but dogs here. So I'm gonna go to the Big 12. So one of those things I love to do is like a team gets like an upset win or gets close to an upset win. They had it in their grasp and then they let it slip through their fingers. That was K-State. I think they felt like they had it. They laid it all on the line and they came up a little short. Baylor comes to town. They're getting 20.5. I'm going to take Baylor. I think Kansas State still wins the game and probably wins by double digits, but I think Baylor probably scores a few points here and there. Give me Baylor +20.5 over Kansas State. Nothing but dogs, baby.
I'm going to Peter's heart here. Florida State, Miami.
Couldn't do it.
Miami stinks. I don't like their coach. I don't like their team. I don't like their attitude. I don't like a lot about them. Florida State's playing to stay in that top 4.
Gotta stay in the
rivalry game at home off a pooper game. Give me Florida State big against rival Miami.
Oh boy. There's a couple games I like here. I like Utah getting points. I like Duke getting points against North Carolina. What right does North Carolina have to be 14.5 points favorites over anybody? But I'm going to go to the Big Ten.
Oh, no.
I'm going to go to Happy Valley.
Oh, no.
I just think there's too much chaos. I don't think they're going to lose the game. But you're going to give me more than a field goal at home. That place is going to be rocking.
I love you. Thank you for this.
I knew you were going to say that. Because you're going to say, give me.
What do you got number at over there? 4.5?
4.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to take Penn State plus the 4.5. Maybe they lose 24-21, 2017, something like that. Michigan hasn't played a really good defense yet this year. So this is the fastest team by far defensively. And Penn State is very good defensively. So
Yeah.
I think they can kind of keep it close. Too much chaos, but they win the game.
Jacksonville Jaguars, I think, are no joke. The San Francisco 49ers. 3 weeks ago, we had them hosting the Lombardi Trophy, for Christ's sake.
How are they favored at Jacksonville?
Both teams off a bye. That's exactly where I'm going. I think, listen, Jacksonville's a pain in the ass offensively. You gotta worry about Lawrence, the tight end, 3 receivers. ETN's playing his ass off. They're well coached.
The tight end.
I don't know what's
Ingram.
I don't know what's going on with Deebo Samuel with the Niners. Their secondary is a mess.
Is he even playing?
I don't know. I know they traded for Chase Young. Great. You know, Bosa's been a ghost, so maybe he could light a fire under his ass. I like the Jaguars here getting 3 at home. I don't care. I might look stupid on Monday. I don't care. I'm going to run with it. Jacksonville +3 against the Niners.
I love that pick. That was one of mine that I was looking at. I'm going to let you have it.
Thank you.
A solo.
Yeah, you like the whole board today for some reason.
Apparently, I like everything. Nobody is as good or as bad as they looked the week before. Everybody is sucking the back of the balls of the Baltimore Ravens right now because, oh my God. Yeah, you gotta reach, you gotta really put effort in to do that. So everybody's putting in the effort. You know what I mean? Because they beat Detroit, who never got off the bus, and they beat Seattle, who didn't know what it was. Just, and you gotta give Baltimore credit for those games.
Seattle went to the wrong airport. Never.
Yeah, I mean, it's just Gino threw it to Gino, but the Gino he threw it to was on the other team. It was wild. So I'm gonna take the Cleveland Browns. Listen, they lost to them earlier in the season. They lost to him earlier in the season pretty bad. Revenge is a dish best served cold. So I think the Browns keep this thing close. They're getting 6.5. We're in a rivalry game, and I think the line may be a little inflated because of the way Baltimore's played the last 2 weeks. Give me the Browns +6.5. I could see a couple turnovers here, a couple things that people don't expect. Browns +6.5 at Baltimore.
My man, pots and pans. I like it. I'm going to Las Vegas. I've seen enough of Zach Wilson. I'm with these Jet fans that want Simeon or Seaman or whatever. I think you're getting the Raiders at a bad time. The juice is worth the squeeze out there for Antonio Pierce.
I agree.
Adams is smoking cigars. Everyone's kissing.
And he didn't even touch the ball.
Short week. Got to go to Vegas with Zach Wilson, the quarterback. This game could end fucking 10-7, and it might. Give me the Raiders. I don't know how they're dogs here. +1.5 against the Jets.
I don't either, and it's only because of that Jets defense. And Max Crosby is unblockable against good linemen. Like, he is unstoppable, and the Jets don't have any good linemen. So, very strange. I don't like that one at all. Like, I don't like the Jets in that game at all. I don't hate your bet at all. I'm going to head up to New England.
Oh, a little clam chowder.
A lot of talk about Bill Belichick either retiring, being fired.
Wait, I have to interrupt you. This game's in Germany, not New England.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm talking about New England. I'm going to head out to Los Angeles. I'm going to head out to Los Angeles where the Chargers are playing the Lions. Did I tell you I like the Jags? Can I go back on that and just take the Jags?
Oh, my God. Maybe he doesn't like the board after all.
What did I say before? Joey Bosa, this defensive line for the Chargers, Khalil Mack, they can get after the quarterback, and it's the only thing that can really stop this offense. They got a good offensive line, top 5 in the league. But if we can get pressure on Goff, he can cough it up, either fumble, throw an interception. So the only time he gets a little squirrely is when he gets some pressure on him. And I think this is the type of team that can do it. I think the Chargers like being at home. They're happy to be home after squeaking one out. Not real pretty game against the Jets. It wasn't close, but it wasn't pretty. Give me the Chargers. I don't know how the hell they're getting 3 points.
Either.
It just blows me away. I know Detroit is good, got a better record, but everybody thinks the Chargers are a pretty good team. Staley will probably find a way to blow it, but give me the Chargers +3 at home against the Lions. I still like the Pats, but I like them better if it was in New England.
Scotty Trivia, you asked for a.
Well, so my 4 picks, I got Penn State plus 4.5 over Michigan and Baylor plus 20 over a very upset and sad Kansas State team. And in the NFL, I got the Browns keeping it close against Baltimore and the Chargers at home. I think they win that game outright. Take the money line. Fuck the points. Take the money line with the Chargers.
Yeah, Staley always scares me.
Yeah, he'll find a way.
College, Nebraska plus 2.5 at home against Maryland. Florida State minus 2 touchdowns against the Canes.
You're crazy.
In the NFL, Jacksonville plus 3 at home against the Niners, and the Las Vegas Raiders plus 1.5 against Pete's Gang Green.
I'll be honest with you. My favorite game, I like the Jags the best. I think there are some issues going on there in San Francisco. I've seen nothing to indicate that they've come out of it.
I agree, man.
And I see Jacksonville just actually getting better every week. I like that game.
Yeah, they build, dude. They're like the Bengals. They just build.
Yeah. Peterson's a good coach. That's a very dangerous team right now. Now we get to some trivia. Let's do this.
Time. You asked and you shall receive. You wanted some college players on teams, NFL players. What college? 6 current wide receivers are LSU. Played at LSU. Name 4 of them.
All right, Jamar Chase.
That's 1.
Jefferson.
That's 2.
Odell Beckham.
That's 3. He got the 3 easy ones.
I was going to say, I can't think of any more.
There's one that was a trio on that team with Joe Burrow and Jefferson and Chase. I don't know if you know that name.
No.
There's a rookie right now that's more of a bigger mouth than a player. And there's one that's a really solid NFL player. He's been around a couple of years now.
I feel like I know the rookie. Not very productive yet, right?
Correct.
Shit. Damn. Give me a team.
Patriots.
Shit.
Keyshawn Butte.
Damn it.
And DJ Shark and Terrace Marshall was the third receiver on that great LSU team.
Oh, right. You're right. Chark was a LSU guy?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
8 Michigan pass rushers are in the NFL.
8.
Name 5.
Oh, my God. I got no prayer at this one. Aiden Hutchinson.
That's 1.
This leads me to a question that I had for you that I wanted to ask you today.
Packers.
Damn, I got nothing. Give me another team.
Eagles.
Shit.
Borderline Hall of Famer. Brandon Graham.
Brandon Graham? Shit. Give me another team.
Let's do he's known for the Chiefs.
He's known for the Chiefs?
He just got released this year.
Oh. I actually know this one. Was he on Seattle at one point?
Mm-hmm.
Damn it.
And he might be there again. I'll give it to you. You got Frank Clark.
Frank Clark, thank you. I knew there was an F in there somewhere.
Patriots. All right, I'll give them to you. Or I could see the engines turned off over there.
I'm fried.
David Ajabo played with Hutch. He's a Raven. Rashawn Gary was the Packer I was talking about. Just got paid. Kwity Paye, Colts. Mike Dana, currently a Chief. And Josh Uche was the Patriot.
I wouldn't have gotten any of those.
Wow.
All right, I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
Not this past, I don't think it was this past draft. The previous, the combine.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe it was a pro day. I don't remember.
That's Ajabo.
That's Ajabo?
Yep.
Okay, so how's he doing?
He's playing, but he's not like he's more of a sub than he's more of a sub.
I don't know what made me think of that today.
Yeah.
I think I just had Michigan on my mind, and I was thinking of like, man, what happened to that poor kid?
Yep.
All right, what's the last one?
This one you got to get, brother. Alabama has 4 starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Name them.
4?
4.
All right, so we got Tua. We got Hurts.
Mm-hmm.
We got Mac.
Mm-hmm.
And Bryce Young.
Oh, my man, 4 for 4. All right. That's the way you end it. Good job.
Not bad. That was you gave me a little bit of a softball on that one, so thank you for that. So it looks so bad.
You know what's funny is I was writing it down. I'm like, Michigan. I'm like, he respects Michigan because of me, but I don't know if he's gonna know these guys. I'm like, let me give him a good one handed on here.
Yeah.
Now, if you didn't get Bryce Young after all the CJ Stroud blow job today, I'm like, oh my god.
What are the big games we're looking for this weekend? I guess the biggest, we got Utah, Washington in college football, and
Michigan, Penn State, and Georgia, Ole Miss.
Sure. And then in the NFL, the big games are Jags, San Fran.
Jags, San Fran for sure. You got to go Browns, Ravens.
It's important. Yeah, it's a big one.
And I think you got to go Lions, Chargers.
Yes, of course. Yeah, definitely.
Dude, the primetime games, dude. How about this? Monday night, Jets, Chargers. Tonight, Panthers, Bears.
Oh, awful.
Sunday night, Jets, Raiders, and Monday night, Broncos, Bills.
Let me ask you something.
I tell you, those teams could be going in different directions, maybe. I don't know.
If we didn't do this, would you even watch a game tonight?
I'm probably not going to watch a game tonight.
Probably not watch it.
Yeah.
That's a rough one. Oh, my good God in heaven.
I thought you could flex out of Thursdays. When does that start?
I guess that doesn't start until the final 4 or 5 weeks of the season.
Oh, God.
When the games start to get important.
Well, I guess they thought.
Well, I don't think they flex that at Thursdays. I think
they don't. I thought they did this year, but you got to.
I thought it was only the Sunday night games.
Yeah, I know Sunday for sure, but
yeah.
But then they kept Raiders Jets, so who the fuck knows?
I know. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's started yet.
Yeah, you might be right.
It's started yet.
So,
122 in the book.
Yes, sir.
Keep on running strong. For Scott Bracey, I'm Pete Colasano. You've been listening to Bump and Run. We'll catch you guys next week.
Later. Dude, beautiful. Well timed. That was great. Excellent.
Good. Good. We're out of here. Got everything we needed, and we still covered some extra stuff. And
love it.
Nice. All right, dude. Have fun tonight.
Bro. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
I'm probably going to meet up with a friend at the Trop. I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him in 30 years. He's down here.
Shit.
He's down here for a teachers convention. So I might. I don't know. I guess see if I can get out of here. So
awesome, dude.
But I'll have it either later tonight or first thing in the morning.
Sounds good, man.
All right, dude. Later.
Later, pal.